don't care what anybody says. That is the dopest intro there is
Yo,
going. And that can only mean one thing. It's Black Table Talk. And I guess y'all liked it well enough because they let us back on the airwaves for episode number 2. I'm Justin Riley. With me, as always, is Mr. DYDC and Mr. Chris Parrish. And we
Yes,
are
sir.
sponsored, as always, by Todd's Terrific Turf. Welcome in, guys.
hey, what's going on, man? You doing all right?
Man, glad to finally get this thing started up. I'm glad that you've moved past AOL dial-up and are with us.
Oh
And
man, you got mail.
don't say that, man. As soon as mail comes in, you're going to go out.
Yeah, man.
But to the audience,
Round two.
round two. To the audience, we apologize for being missing last week, but last weekend was a national holiday. Well, two of those days, WrestleMania took place, and we had to do our thing and watch Stone Cold Steve Austin make his triumphant return. And then, great weekend, incredible weekend. But we're back. And this other sponsor we have now, whoop ass.
earlier today on 459, I saw two AEW 18-wheelers driving down. I don't know where they were going, but AEW 18-wheelers on 459 maybe a few hours ago.
They may have a show locally. I mean, they do shows all over. They're growing too, so it'd be interesting to kind of see how they go over the next couple of years.
Man, maybe they thought that you were Mark Henry, man, got mistaken, and were coming to pick you up on the way in.
Beat 'em up.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, as always, we are here to talk about the topics that need to be talked about, but we do it in a politically incorrect way. And what's hotter right now than the Fresh Prince himself, Mr. Will Smith? Guys, we have had quite a 2 weeks with one of the most recognized icons, not only in Hollywood, but in music and, social media. There isn't anything this man hasn't succeeded at. But he's been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. So, knee-jerk reaction, guys. What's your immediate thoughts for his actions? And we're not just going to sit here and just talk about that. We're actually here tonight going to peel back the layers of what's actually happening. You know, have an actual discussion about what you saw, not what's trending, not what's popular and drawing in the views in the papers. And isn't it funny how nothing was happening in the media at that
That's how it works.
time, and all of a sudden, Will Smith now. But anyway, fellas, I'll let y'all start this off. Rock, paper, scissors, who wants to go? Let's just get it rolling.
Go ahead, man. I want to hear what you got to say, but I've been waiting on to watch us for about 2 weeks now.
Who, me or Justin?
Bruh, us, bruh. I like, as soon as it happened, I hated that we had just done one episode. I was like, boy, this needs to be addressed right and now.
Oh yeah, but right now, who's about to talk right now?
I think he's just referring to you, sir.
You.
Oh, hey man, let me just tell you. First and foremost, can you hear me? Oh, hey, let me tell you. When I first saw it, and I don't watch any of the war show. There was a time in my life, BMAs,
Yeah.
the Grammys. I was tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I got things to do now, so it don't really happen like it used to. But I was just flipping through the channels, and I ain't gonna lie. I'll say about 5 or 10 minutes before the slap happened is when I tuned in to the show. And when I first saw it, I said, "Oh, wait a minute, that must have been some kind of bid they was doing as far as, I don't know what it was, and my volume wasn't necessarily up on my TV, so I'm thinking it must have just been." And even when you watch the replays, it don't really look like a slap. I guess it happens so quick. You really don't see that contact. You know what I'm talking about? But
Yeah.
that was my first reaction. Then, as time went on, folks start talking about it. I'm like, oh no, man. Let me just tell you, it ain't nowhere on this planet I'm about to slap a man unless I'm prepared to kill or die. And let me just tell you, that's how I feel about it. That ain't normal. That to me, you do that when there is no other option. You don't put your hands that it ain't that as far as men go, you don't do that to another man unless you ready for it to go way further than just a slap. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? So now in the reactions to it, you got some folks out here who applauding it, and I ain't seeing too many men applauding it, but we got a few here and there, and you got a lot of folks out here who really just excited about seeing a man slap another man. And I can understand if it was warranted. Ain't nothing about that warranted, man. Ain't nothing. That was just totally out of order, and you know,
It's
and,
it was hard to watch, honestly. And the reason it was hard to watch is because it was so disrespectful. Like a lot of people say, man, growing up back in the day, if you wanted to embarrass a dude, you slapped him. That's like that's almost like spitting on somebody. But
Yeah.
my thing is like I don't see how Chris Rock stood there so comfortably and just took it. Like we're all sizable guys. So if I saw somebody about 6 inches taller than me, about 100 pounds bigger, walking towards me, and I just told a joke about your wife, I don't think you coming to give me a hug. That's so so I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna get in the fighting stance. Hey, what you gonna do? He kind of just left that jaw out there. And let me tell
Leaned
you
in,
something.
actually.
I don't care. I don't care if it was The Rock. I don't care if it was Kimbo Slice, as my buddy just referred to me as. I don't care if it was Mike Tyson. Ain't no grown man finna walk up to me, slap me, turn around, and walk away. First of all, you're lucky enough to get close enough to hit me. Secondly, if you do happen to hit me, you better keep your eyes in my direction for the rest of your life. Because it's coming. For me, man, I didn't understand it because, like, everybody saw Will last, then everybody saw him get that dirty look, then everybody saw him go up there and slap this guy. And one of the main problems I have is the people who are applauding it. Like, this doesn't apply anywhere in life. Like, you can't just go and slap somebody because something they said pissed you off, and now
Right.
here's your jerk response. Like, and that's what a lot of people are saying because you have a lot of women out there. Oh, I'm so glad to see him stand up for his wife. I'm so glad to see him do this. Yeah, that'll get you killed. Like once again, we talk about the privilege that he had to be able to go up there and do that. If he got charged for assault, he got money to get out. He won't go to jail for long. He slapped another high star celebrity. I'm a high star celebrity myself. He had enough gall to even stay there and get his award. I just don't see it.
the
Put it in
gall
me.
to turn around, and do it. He pretty much immediately turned around. First of all, let me just tell you right now, you slap me and turn around, I'm gonna be on your back like an itch you can't reach. Let me just tell you that right now. It ain't gonna be none that gonna get me off your back. I'm just letting you know right now. So that the turn around immediately out, like he didn't even do a like a hey, let me it was just like pow, I'm safe. Walk away. Like I don't
And he had a smirk on his face, like,
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah. Yes. I mean,
David out or nothing, man. Just walked off.
he didn't even look over his shoulder. I'm like, you felt comfortable
bold.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Like, yeah, man. What you think, Justin?
Man, listen, I can reiterate what you said, but to be honest with you, I'm ready to get to the why behind it. Why did all this happen? What's really going on with Will? For 3 decades now, you see that for the most part has kept his reputation and who he is squeaky clean. Man, he didn't even cuss on his records. Not one cuss word.
Sorry, go ahead.
Will
Yeah.
Smith don't even have to cuss on his.
Yes, and
Oh,
Eminem took offense to that. But
yeah.
who's always been the epitome of positivity, of inspiration, motivation, and now all that's changed. You're seeing a man right now who's broken because he's in a toxic relationship. He's been in a toxic ship for a long period of time. But we really didn't get to see what that was all about until what was it? I guess the past year, or maybe a little bit long, when all of a sudden Jada's coming out, and coming out to the media and all kind of onlookers, not behind closed doors, face to face, him and her. Oh, I never loved you. I'm still in love with Tupac. And shortly thereafter, she goes on her program, this seen by millions, and announces to the entire world something that should have been talked about again behind closed doors, and says, "I've been sleeping with another man in your house," and yeah, I don't care what you say about their marriage, if you even want to call it that. That's a whole nother subject to begin with. I'm sorry, hoping it's not a marriage, but we're not going to dive down that path. But she publicly humiliated the man and reduced cheating on him to entanglement. Broke him down in front of people, and the man was a meme for a year and a half. And that I'm sure is just the small portion of what's been going on, when the cameras are turned off and the social media is shut down. So he's been dealing with that. And anybody who's in a toxic relationship will tell you, and this is speaking from experience too, it completely changes who you are. And a lot of people will come out and say, well, you can just leave that. You can just walk away from it. Yeah, the people who've never been in situations like that don't understand exactly what it does to you. Okay? They don't understand. I can drug addiction. It's not just something you can put down and that be it. It's something that has lingering, numbing effects, and it can get you to the point to where you're unrecognizable. You start making decisions that you normally don't make. For me, I'll admit it, having suicidal thoughts. It's serious. And if it's not dealt with, and it's for a long period of time, which I'm sure that's what Will was doing, and everybody was challenging his manhood, you get to a point where all that compression can finally blow up. And it can be a small thing, it can be a thing, but that one little thing that was that breaking point for him. And it went off. And it exploded in front of national television.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and I'm not a psychologist, nothing like that. But what you're describing, I think, can be likened to Stockholm syndrome. I imagine y'all know what that is, but for those who don't, Stockholm syndrome, typically you hear it talked about with one who has been kidnapped, and they form attachments with their abductors, and um, basically, I'm using the term to say you have an attachment to a person who has no interest in your greater good as a person.
Right.
You have an attachment to them for whatever reason. It's an unhealthy attachment, but it's not one that you are willing to let go. And but I'm a steer away from the Stockholm syndrome, you know, label. And I'm just gonna say, I think Will, he has at some point in time in his life, he's just accepted his role to be a glutton for punishment.
Right.
He's just
And it
accepted that.
happens.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it could you could probably look at it from a whole lot of different ways, but I think at the core of it all, you just accept this is your role in life. And there's a lot of men, I ain't gonna say men. It's probably a lot of people like who just accepted their role as being the bottom of the totem pole. You just a glutton for punishment. Your position in life is to receive, um, just to receive garbage and to eat it. You know what I'm saying? And you just accepted that, and it's unfortunate because and it's unfortunate for a lot of reasons because one, You might have somebody who will just get beat down, and they'll just get beat down and beat down, and they'll probably never ever respond in a way that other than just to keep on receiving that punishment. You got somebody who they're receiving until they can't no more, and then they'll explode or they'll lash out, and there'll be some kind of show of anger or emotion because they've been balling up something for for such a long time, which I think you know will probably fit that mold. But
Man, let
that's
me say,
something. Yeah, go ahead.
well, no, I was just gonna say, man, what we witnessed with her show and airing all their laundry, what we witnessed without knowing it is we watched Will Smith in front of millions of people, and The Rock means millions, in front of millions of people. We watched him get castrated. We watch him
Yeah.
get emasculated in front of millions of people. And the meme that everybody refers to is him sitting there looking sad. Like that's that sad look on his face is what he felt during the time she was explaining in front of millions of people, hey, I cheated because you weren't enough for me. So she felt that she had to go and and kind of make up for it, and that's what she did. Like you said, the conversation they should have had behind closed doors, they had where everybody could see it, and
Hmm.
Will could do nothing about it because what do the toxic women say that heard her say she felt emasculated, that she needed somebody? Oh, it's okay when you feel like that. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do for you, and see that kind of
No.
mentality is it lead like those are the kind of women that get a male in his relationship and emasculate him. No man in a relationship or in general wants to feel emasculated. But to the women that find it okay, they find that emasculating a male makes them feel powerful because then they feel like they wear the pants in a relationship. And I hope for every woman that's listening,
Empowering. I feel
every,
empowered. Oh, you hear
every
that?
woman that's listening, being empowered in
There's
a
a
relationship.
difference between empowering somebody and rolling over their life
Mhm.
and stripping them down to something that's pitiful and unrecognizable, emasculating. An empowered person, whether it's man or woman, is not going to tie down and crush their spirit and take life from them.
Yeah, that's
That's the
called being
bottom line.
evil.
I help.
Yeah, that's called being
Yeah.
evil. Yeah, that's what that is. That's called being evil. Yeah, let's just call that what it is. Like you're an evil person. But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no,
But
man. I
yeah,
mean,
this.
was it. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, to tie back in with you to Stockholm syndrome. This is what happens that does not love him. Never going to love him. I said I've been there before, but Will has to make that decision to remain in it and cause further harm to himself, maybe even greater harm, or leave. He's never going to win her over, no matter what he does. Whatever he does is not going to be good enough in her eyes. You know, if she loved him, her actions that night show that she doesn't love him. This is to be brutally honest. And reasons, and I know you got something to say. A couple of reasons. One, if she truly loved him, she would not allowed that situation to progress. She wouldn't have allowed him to go on that stage and
Exactly.
yes, ruin the night itself and the people he was representing for the movie that he won an Oscar for, the Academy, and his career. A person who is healthy is not going to allow that. But also, too, she would also have allowed him to shout profanities in front of the Academy, the people there, and a national audience, and causing further harm. I mean, she wouldn't have done it. And the biggest thing of it all, defended his reputation after the fact. Has she come forward and said, "Hey, you know what, guys? This man has had a great reputation for the past 3 years. He made a mistake, but I'm going to stand by him. We're going to get over that." What does she offer up? It's a time for healing. What the hell?
Yeah, that's that mumbo jumbo, man, that you hear nowadays with a lot of folks who, let's talk about our zodiac signs and let's talk about our ancestors and let's talk about energy and let's talk that's that whole worldly let's just be aloof about everything. There's just no common sense talking that gets done. And I think Jada Pinkett, she's just really the evolved form. It ain't, I mean, it's a lot of women on that path. You know what I'm saying? As far as the type of stuff that she promotes, there's a lot of women on that path, but she's at the destination. She's already made it. If you got somebody like that in your house, that's what she gonna be. If you a man, you dealing with a woman who's anything like that, that is what she's gonna be. You just give her a little bit of time, and that's what she's gonna be. I mean, that's just the bottom line, man. And I mean, as far as Will, I think a lot of the problem he has, and let me just talk. Let me just touch on toxic masculinity for a second.
Yeah,
Toxic
please do. Come
masculinity.
on.
I think toxic. I think masculinity only gets toxic when it's been influenced by a woman. I'm gonna say it just like that.
Hmm.
Masculinity only gets toxic when it's been influenced by a woman. And I'm gonna tell you
Oh,
why I said it.
Go ahead. I
Uh,
want to hear this.
hey, I got men in my life. Uh, dad, granddad, brother, uncles. I got men in my life who don't behave nothing like a toxic male does. But when I examine toxic masculinity, when you see somebody like let's just say, I ain't gonna say Will Smith, but what he did as far as showing that outburst of aggression towards another man. But when you just see men and how they carry on, I can tell you, my observation is more times than not, they ain't grew up with no man in their house.
yeah.
Men that I know, when I think about a man, there is no emotional outburst, it's the men they're very reserved. The ones I
Yeah.
grew up around, very reserved, very in control of who they are. What come out of their mouth is what they meant to say. It ain't something that they apologize for later, like, oh, I was just upset. Everything is men that I grew up around are calculated in everything they do, their
Mhm.
words and their deeds.
It's
There's
logical.
no there. Everything is logic. There's no emotion in nothing that a man that I know. I'm just speaking about my experience. And when
Mhm.
I think about my granddad, he ain't gonna make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Ain't no emotion, anger or happiness. There's just none. It's all it's all work. It's just like, who needs something done, I'll get it done. There's no, when I think of masculinity, from what I grew up around, it ain't got nothing to do with none of this stuff that I see, being touted as being a man. The only time I see toxic masculinity is when there is a man who has grew up outside of a male influence, and then he's trying to figure it out. And most of the time is, how many women can I get? How much of a big guy can I act like?
Yeah.
And a lot
Mhm.
of
Right.
them dead already. If they ain't dead, they in jail. And so the rest of the the actual men out here who's in tune with what it means to actually be a man. you know let's just say, if Will Smith, if he grew up around a man who actually groomed him and constructed his mentality, Will would have saw a woman like Jada and crossed the street. There she is. I'm gonna go this way. And that's what. And
Yeah, you're
I
right.
ain't gonna say. And I ain't gonna say. You're gonna always get it right. Cause you might cross paths with a female and be like, oh, she looks good and this and that. Let me go talk to her. Let me maybe take her on a date. I ain't gonna say that, but there's something in you. I think if you grew up around men of a certain caliber, it's just some things about a woman you ain't gonna be interested in. And and I don't know how they, you know, they're rearing when it comes to their church. I don't know how that works. But these kids, there's some they ain't normal kids, man. Let me just tell you, man. They ain't got no kind of. I'm just gonna say it, man. There's something awkward about these kids, and that's the one thing I hate about celebrity, man. I just hate how we got to know about what they do in their house. Keep y'all stuff in y'all house, man. Cause in my house, man, when kids act up, they gonna get beat. Okay, they gonna get their behinds beat. They gonna get disciplined. They gonna get punished. It ain't no, we coddle, we nurture our kids, and it's just a whole lot
Permanent
of
timeout.
yeah, all that stuff, man. Like some of that is good when when it's appropriate, but man, when you just like totally relinquish your responsibilities as a man, what you're supposed to bring to a family unit, and you just relinquish that because your woman told you the right words and made you take a seat back, and you just go, okay, well, I'm just gonna let her handle it, man. Hey, all right, it ain't gonna work out for you. I tell you that much. But hey, y'all go ahead.
Boy,
And let me
boy,
paraphrase.
hey,
You said this is
you
what
talk.
happens when a woman, man, no, a healthy woman would not influence a man in that way. But I got things I got to say. But Julian said, looks like you've got something that's welling up. I only first, brother.
You know what, man? It's really just like to piggyback kind of off what he said. So, he talked about the toxic masculinity when he went into, the child rearing. I'm going to talk about the child rearing and go into the toxic masculinity. Like you said, if there's no male presence in that home, like it's hard it's hard, not impossible, but it's hard for a female to raise a man to be a man. Not saying that it can't be done, because there are a lot of successful single mothers out there who raise their sons to be men. But if you ask those single moms, hey, you know what? If you would have had a man to show your son love, care, responsibility, show you what you needed to help raise this boy to be a better man, would you not have taken that? Everybody would have said yes, because everyone wants someone to share the burden with. Nobody wants to have to do it alone. But you have a lot of people in these situations where these boys end up having to raise themselves because the example of what a man should be is not in the household. But then fast forward to today's time, people are telling these men that, hey, you shouldn't raise your boy to, hey, you know what? Oh, you fell down. Hey, get up. Don't cry. Guess what? That's perfectly fine to tell a child. You fall, you hurt your hand. Hey, I understand it hurts. Dry your face. You're going to be okay. So, therefore, over time, that child learns that, hey, you know what? This only hurt a little bit. I ain't got to cry about it. Versus someone who will pick that child up every time he cries and kisses his boo boos and say, oh, I
You're
hope you
right.
feel better. Then become dependent on having somebody there to make him feel better rather than him self-soothing himself. So once again, you
Hmm.
take it from that point and you take it to being a young man. So now you had this coddling all your life, and once again, that's what you used to. So you start looking for that in a female. When you start looking for that in a female, and you need a woman that's going to be there for you to, kiss your boo boos, make you feel better. You want her to be your mom, for lack of better saying.
Yeah.
Guys, that is where we find our beta males. Beta males, how you doing? I'm sure a lot of beta males are just logged off because y'all don't think this conversation is going to be about you. We're going to go ahead and bring it home. But once again, a lot of people confuse, an alpha male with being a male that's stuck on himself and arrogant, and a beta male being a man that's just, oh, well, he's not a beta male. He's just in tune with his feminine side. No, an alpha male can be in tune with his
Beta.
feminine side. I'm in tune with my feminine side, but guess what? I ain't no beta. Like I'm excuse me, I ain't no Will Smith. Like there's no way my wife's gonna sit down here and tell me that she had an entanglement because that's what she needed at that point. And so that's what made it work for her. So I'm gonna stay with you and I'm gonna continue to take abuse. I can see if Jada got better, as time went along as they had the conversation. But based on what they're putting out there, she looks the same, if not worse, emotionally. So which doesn't lead me to believe that what he went through one time, he'll go through again. But because he's a beta male in that position, he's gonna stay there and take it. And like you said, that's that Stockholm syndrome. He is formed an attachment to his abuser, and so now
Yeah.
he needs. And he's too worried about what his image will look like if he leaves and says, "Oh, you know what? I don't want to be with this woman anymore." Like, I understand, like, sometimes in life when you have a relationship, especially a marriage, it's hard to divorce and go a separate way because of the time and everything that you put into that marriage. But at the end of the day, like, you got to make a decision that's going to suit you, that's going to be best for you and your family. And you can't be the best form of you for your family if you're not the best form of you for yourself. And that's why I think
Yeah,
a lot
right.
of people that struggle and like they have a hard time of like trying to say, you know what, I'm gonna let this man lead, or I'm gonna let this person take control and just say, you know what, I'm gonna be the co-passenger, I'm gonna be the co-pilot on this plane. That's okay. Too many women want to emasculate guys in relationships, thus leading to a guy feeling like, hey, you know what, no matter what I say, how she feels is more important. So I gotta do what she wants. And we go to that term happy wife, happy life. Before I dive even deeper than that, I'm gonna pass it back to Justin because I just wanted to go in reverse to kind of what Chris was saying from the male aspect to a child rearing, from a child rearing to beta to not a beta male, but to a male that was raised without their influence. Because it's hard to go into life without any kind of blueprint. You can't build a house without a blueprint. You can't start a business without a business plan. You can't be a male without an example of what it is to be a male.
And I'm just gonna interject for 2 seconds. You said self-soothing. I'm gonna say self-soothing leads to self-control.
Mhm.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, just
Well, first of all, the term happy wife, happy life doesn't necessarily
it's
mean
stupid. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's meant to
No,
it's meant to be a joke. It's not meant to be a
mm,
lifestyle where you slave to a person that's not healthy and doesn't have your best interest in heart. A relationship has two people life into each other. Now, there are times where one's going to pour more life, and then the season will change, and the roles will reverse.
Mhm.
But yeah, it doesn't look like what we see right now. And as far as a female raising a male, there's only a certain role that a female or a mother can fulfill in regard to their male son. You know, a father has a specific role in teaching and raising. A mother just can't do.
Yeah.
And you can be an alpha male, but still be patient, still withhold your anger, still open up, you know,
mhm,
still be soft. You know,
mhm,
an alpha male to me has perfect everything. And society's view of an alpha male is
calculated.
absolute crap right now.
Mhm.
They don't know what a male is.
Mhm,
For instance, they're berating Will Smith because he's been taking all this from guys and people who probably have never been in a situation like this toxicity, so they really have no idea what they're talking. But then when he actually gives them what they've been asking, all of a sudden they're condemning him to hell.
Mhm.
So how do you win in that regard? And another form of toxic too, and I think maybe as and society we've gotten a little bit better, but some people are still teaching to keep things bottled up. If you talk about it, it's a sign of weakness. You hear the saying you've heard for a long time. You probably can quote it with me as I say it. What happens in this house. Not necessarily mean about what's going on in the house. It can mean bottled up what's going on with you. What happens in this house? That's the dumbest thing I ever damn heard. You got to go to somebody. If you're hurting, go to someone. I'm hurting. This is what's going on in my life. My life is a wreck. I'm falling apart. I can't pay my mortgage. My wife cheating on me. I'm losing my mind. My kids act like they straight from hell. You got to talk about it. And let me make it clear, not just to anybody. I'm talking about a trusted group of male advisors who can hold you accountable, who can have that conversation, butt chewing, what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, who are going to pull you out of a dark pit of hell when you can't pull yourself out of something.
Mhm.
So, I always told, and I live by this, the in here, show me your friends and I'll show you.
Yep.
If
Yep.
you have the wrong people around you, it's going to lead to destruction. If you have nobody around you, it's going to lead to destruction because you have no guide
Hmm.
whatsoever. And when you get in situations like what Will's in, and I'm not just picking on females, because of the fence. When you get out in situations like this, you can't escape it. So you've
Yep.
got to have that positive influence. But
No doubt.
I'll let y'all turn. I'll turn that over to y'all.
Oh, man,
No
you good
doubt. I
because
mean,
I was going to agree with what you were saying about like having that positive influence. Because once again, when you say toxic masculinity, people automatically tie in so many characteristics to that one thing that's incorrect. Like once again, like you talk about having that circle around you. So many people can't have that circle because they're not honest with themselves. Like you have to be honest with
Yeah,
yourself to have people around you that can be honest with you too. Because if you lie to yourself, you're going to surround yourself with people that lie to you as well. If if if
mhm.
if I was cheating on my wife, like I have guys around me that'll put their foot in my behind, dude. You cannot do that. You can't lose this. You have something too good, and that's what a lot of guys don't have. A lot of guys have that co-signer that says, "Hey, you know what? You doing this? Hey, it's okay." When your relationship fails because you've been doing dirt all this time, they're gonna say, "Hey, you know what? It's all right. It ain't your fault." But they see you mess up. Like you can't surround yourself with these yes men. And let me tell these fellas out here, alpha males attract other alpha males. Check your group. If you got too many beta males in your circle, guess what you are, buddy? guess what you are. And people need to realize that. Like it's okay to be told, hey, you're messing up. Get your butt in gear. Get it going. Get it right. But once again, people are so afraid of hearing the truth about themselves that they'd rather surround themselves with people that'll lie to them. And that's your first step in going wrong. That's your first step in not maturing. And people got to learn to get past that and just be willing to hear what they don't want to hear.
Yeah. Man, my take on it is big problems start off as small problems. I mean, it sounds pretty basic. But what I'm getting at is a lot of the things that people are in their adulthood, they were in their childhood.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank.
yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just saying, like, if you ain't had nobody told you your behavior is problematic, and I ain't, you know what? I'm just gonna go into it a little bit. And this ain't,
Go for it.
me. This ain't me trying to.
You got 2 minutes to go into it a little bit.
2 minutes. I start the timer. Let's start the timer. Look, if you got a child in your house, and this is a thing that a man does. You got a child in your house who is exhibiting manipulative behavior. Whether it's let's just say it's lying. Like you just can't tell the truth for some reason. I'm gonna be up under a refrigerator. My mama gonna knock me up under the washing machine and the dryer. You say something out your mouth, and I ask you a question, and you ain't told me the truth in your answer. We got a problem. Let's just say, let's just say you have an issue with, somebody's talking to you and you kind of giggling and laughing like it's a game, it's a joke. Okay, once again, you're gonna be up on the refrigerator. If I mean, keep on at it. But let me just say, now what I have noticed, boys gonna get a footprint put in them. You know where? But then the girls, I even heard. I'm just gonna say who it was. I even heard Steve Harvey on the radio saying, I don't want to, discipline my girls because I don't want them to associate
Hmm.
physical. I think he said physical abuse or physical, um, harm with love. He don't want them. He don't now. One thing I hate about him saying something like that, apparently your girls are stupid because I know my girl, my daughter, she would know the difference between being disciplined versus being beat on by somebody
Right.
who she's sitting on. Like, my girls could tell.
Right.
My girl could tell the difference between that. Now, essentially, if you want to just say I don't want to beat my girls because I just don't want to, say that. Don't try to make it cute. Don't try to make it cute. Don't try to say, oh, they can't tell the difference between physical abuse and being. Oh, yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Man,
Just like I can. Just
they
like I
can.
can.
Let me tell
If,
you how I
if,
know, man. Like
It-
my I have three girls, man. I have three girls, and they know the difference. Like
oh yeah,
I'm
no
a
doubt.
blended. So they were brought into it. We raised kids a little bit differently when I grew up. So they understood that, hey, you know what? You mess up the first time, mama gonna get you. You mess up the second
mhm.
Daddy gonna get you. Now, every time you mess up after that second time, Daddy gonna get you. Because if for some reason you say Mama gonna get you, they'll be like, well, I really don't want Mama to get me, but I'm gonna go ahead and risk this. If they know,
Yeah.
if they know, Daddy coming, Daddy gonna get you. Yeah, I ain't. Yeah, I don't want that. Don't want that. But once again, it's for a lot of girls, especially girls growing up. They make decisions how they will the rest of their life, which is very emotionally. Like they get emotional, and like so a lot of their decision making is on them. For myself, my logic kicked in at a very early age about consequences, and it had to do with my parents. It had to do with how my parents raised me. My dad being the head of the household. Once again, we had that same logic. You knew if mama got you, daddy was gonna get you. Well, see, mine went a little different. I'm in fifth grade. Randy Smiley, one of my best friends, man, had the knowledge to crack a joke in the back of the classroom.
What's
It'd
happening,
be
Randy?
funny. I still be laughing. Man, so one day my teacher got me, man. Said, you still making noise? I'm going to get you. Teacher popped me in the hand 5 times with a ruler. Okay. Didn't like that. My next teacher, who was in the next classroom, who had my sister before I got there. Oh, little Julie in the classroom talking. Let me get hold of it. Pow, pow, pow. I got hit again 5 more times. Now we're going to call your mom. So by the time I get home, my mama said, oh, so you still not listening? Pow, 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 pow. That's number three. After number three, finally my dad gets home. I'm so nervous, I'm shaking, I can't even have a regular conversation. He knows something wrong. My dad gets there, and my dad gives me boom, boom. As you hear it, they get aggressive. Boom. Things are a little bit different. At that time,
Yeah.
at 10 years old, I made the logical decision in my head that, you know what? If I mess up in class, I'm gonna have to walk through 4 ass whippings before I go to sleep that night.
That's the truth.
Told me, you know what? You don't want to do that because the last thing I want to do is go home before I go to sleep and see the Undertaker. So I said, no,
You see?
that's not. But see, a lot of people think that, hey, if you whip your kids, if this is the kind of parent that you are, that like your children will grow up to be fearful of you. Like you said, they'll grow up thinking that abuse is love. I never thought abuse was love. I
Nope.
understood
No.
exactly what I did when I was
Hmm.
younger. I got in trouble and I got my behind whipped for it
Oh,
because
wait, Julie.
ironically, when
Wait,
I didn't do it, it didn't happen.
wait. Imagine a world where boys learn that, but girls don't. Imagine that world. What does it look like?
It looked
Oh,
like
you ain't
20.
got to imagine it because we living in it right now. You ain't got to imagine it. Boys
Man, listen.
learn, hey, this behavior, don't do it anymore. Girls learn this behavior, find cute reasons to keep doing it. I was on my period. Oh, my stomach hurt. Oh, well,
Yep.
my
Yeah.
mama and daddy let me do it, so it must be fine. Oh, imagine that world. You ain't got to imagine it. We here.
Because, man, like I said, I have girls, man, so I let them know now. Like, oh yeah, well, I was on my cycle last week. That's why I felt like this. That's why I was emotional. That's why I say, hey, that's not an excuse because see, you can go to school and be respectful. You can go to your job and be respectful. You can be respectful to your friends. So don't bring me the excuse, oh, this is how I was feeling at this moment, and that's why I reacted this way. Because I tell my girls, you can always come and tell me whatever you want me to hear. Whatever you want me to hear, I will listen. I love when you tell me how you feel, as long as you do it respectfully. You can have a problem with me. and say, I don't like how you're doing this and this and this, guess what? I can hear that as a parent. A lot of parents don't want to hear that. I can hear that as a parent, but it has to be respectful. As long as it's
Yeah.
respectful, we can talk about anything. And that's where a lot of parents don't
True.
have that crossing, that crossing meet with their kids. And that's where you have a lot of guys, a lot of guys say, you shouldn't whip your daughters. I believe in being fair. I got more whipping than my sisters did growing up, but guess what? They got them, and guess what? They learn from them.
Hmm.
That's because my parents instilled in them at a young age. Right from wrong. There's gonna be a consequence for every action, no matter whether it's good or it's bad. But that came from having a strong male figure in the home that was the precedent. Otherwise, once again, mama gonna get you. But you really don't want daddy to get you like that,
Hmm.
like that. And it comes from having that strong male role model. Like to this day,
To
my
the
dad is still my hero.
to the men out there, if you dating a girl and she ain't never had a butt whooping, find you another one. My bad, Justin. Go ahead.
Immediately. Immediately. Listen, man, we definitely need to go back to the neighborhood watch, the community watch thing, like you spoke about, Jillian, where you know at somebody's house in the neighborhood before you even got home, your daddy met you at the mailbox. If at school, my dad had the rule that if you get it, don't get it at home too. And man, listen.
Hmm.
And don't let me dare disrespect my. As that door flew open, it's rest in peace. I mean, I'm serious. It's like the damn Undertaker was there, but my dude to further push this point about me, Ethan, he'd always ask me this question. I'm sure y'all got this question right now. Why I shouldn't beat the hell out of you? And as a kid, what answer can you possibly it's going to get alleviate? It's going to rescue you from that situation? There is none.
Isn't
Nope.
that man?
None. Or you can start muttering at the mouth. Dad be like, "What? Well, I had a tummy ache. What? I had. I didn't tie my shoe. What?" And then the next thing I know is Mortal
Set up.
Kombat. Get
I
over
mean,
here.
it's it's a setup. It's a
It's a
setup.
setup.
Anything you say after that question is there's more fuel to that fire, bro. That is.
But
Give me one reason. I don't have one,
hey,
sir.
listen.
Please.
I'll take it a step further too, man. If you gonna get mama mad at you, you get mad at you. Hey, don't let grandmom or granddad found out. Shoot, my grand she heard you acting up. She said, "Hey, all right, go outside, find a switch." And for
Mm,
all you young, explain this. It means go to a tree and get you a limb because it's gonna be.
a
And how
bush,
how
a
defeating
bush,
is that?
a bush. Just not
Uh,
not a tree.
how defeating is that? She sends you out to the yard to pick the weapon of destruction she's going to use against you. And as a kid, find the smallest little twig, and you come back in that house, and
You
she
know.
looks at you like,
You
"Okay,
know.
you gonna play?" Where's the whole damn tree? Comes back in the house and whoop ass with it. But
That's how
but
it
it's generational. But I want to add one more thing. I know we kind of veered off there, but two, I think a lot of in people are getting the wrong idea because they see their parents under in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Say it
Yep.
again. I had some internet.
Uh,
Say it again, Justin.
a lot of the problems we're having now, especially with this generation and older, is they have parents that will undermine each other as far as in front of their children
Yeah.
and completely disrupt whatever they're doing to get their kid right. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my dad never. If my mom had a problem with how a certain discipline was executed, after they punished us, they went back to their room and they talked about it. Between themselves, they didn't
Yep.
undermine each other. They
They
didn't
were you.
emasculate. We go back to that word. They didn't emasculate the other and diminish their level of importance in that home.
They were a united front in front of the kids. They were a united front, and uh which is the same united front that need to be displayed in public. Um, in
Yep.
front of the children, there is no one in that in that circle, imagine taking your left hand and grabbing your wife's right hand, taking your right hand and grabbing your wife's left hand. That is a circle that no one gets in between. That's a united front. Everything outside of that comes second.
Yeah.
So yeah, when the kids uh doing whatever they doing and somebody do something, I mean, hey, you don't have no say so in what just happened to you as a child. You receive what you received, and you don't. Yeah, you don't. That's not something you privy to. Seeing your mom and dad talk about whatever it is that they just what one of them may have just done to you. No, you're a united front to everybody, including the children.
And that's something, man, that once again you have to be strong enough to talk about with your partner before even go down the road of a relationship, because see, that was mandatory before me and my wife got married. That was one thing we talked about. Hey, I know how you discipline. This is how I discipline. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I'm good with it. Okay, let's keep talking then. Hey,
Yeah.
I grew up like I never to this day, I'll be 35 in July. To this day, my parents have never argued in front of me. Never. Never. They both have more respect for each other to, like you said, undermine any one of them in front of the kids. Like that's a level of respect that has to be there. Like I knew that coming into this relationship, uh, if my kids don't listen after they get that grace period, it's gonna be some consequences coming behind it. If she wasn't okay with that, this would never work, because I'm not going to
Hmm.
sit there and ask you as a child to do something 5 and 6 times when I know clearly that you heard what I said. Because see, after the second time, if I even said a second time, after the second time, it's okay. So you heard me. So okay. So now you're choosing to not do what I asked you to do.
Hmm.
Okay. Let
And
me
just
show you why that's not going to happen. And as a wife, as a partner, I mean, as a husband, like if that's how your partner disciplines, if you're okay with that, like support them. Like say, hey, you know what? I understand. Hey, you know what? Your dad told you what was gonna happen. Your mom told you what was gonna happen. Here we are at the consequences. Don't get to the consequences, then change your mind. I know we said we're gonna do this. We're not gonna do that. No, like you said, that united front goes a long way. That way, no kid can ever think, well, mom said this. Well, I'm just gonna go ask dad because I know I'll get the answer I want.
that can be the a source of tension in relationships because
Mhm,
as to piggyback on what you said, your normal, what you perceive as normal, is a married couple not doing the arguing in front of his kids. Now imagine linking up with somebody, forming ties with somebody who their normal, her normal in your case would have been watching mom and dad argue in front of the kids. And so in her mind, ain't nothing wrong with that.
mhm,
Now we're talking about somebody who goes, "Oh, what's wrong with this? What's your problem?" That ain't nothing close to something that's normal in your mind, and in her mind, she's so used to seeing that she wants to not only do she is she comfortable with it, she wants to imitate it.
mhm.
Imagine being with somebody who something that you see is so outside the ordinary is just another day for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That
and
could
so many
be.
guys get caught living in that is that they think that, okay, well, since my wife feels this way, let me just be empathetic towards her. And you can't
Mm-mm.
you can't do that all the time. Like you cannot do that all the time. And like for like men who sit there and just take it, like I feel sorry. Will, I feel sorry for you, bud. Like because it truly sucks to be in that position to feel that you have no say so, or to think the way she feels is more important than the way you feel. Because if you allow that to happen, the only thing you're going to do is bottle up resentment that will eventually, it's going to come out. Like, ain't no way you can just sit on that and just let it stay there.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I think you touched on something earlier. I can't remember exactly what you had said, but I think one of the things, and this is just a shout out to our thumbnail for this show. We had the Joker sitting up there.
Yeah.
Um, there's a scene, and I'm just gonna show y'all how much of a nerd I am. But there's a scene in the Dark Knight movie the one with the one with the Joker and him and Harvey Dent. This is when Harvey Dent was first burned, and he's Two Face now. So he's in the hospital, and he's talking about the Joker and about his plan. And the Joker looks at him and goes, do I look like a man? Do I look like a guy with a plan? I'm just a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do if I ever got one. He says, I just do things. I want to focus on that last part. I just do things. We got a lot of people out here, whether we're talking about manhood, whether we're talking about relationships, you got a lot of people out here who's just doing things, man. They're not following no kind of proven course of wisdom, no type of discernment.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing going on up here. They just doing things, waking up and just doing things, man. Like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And my thing is that's the recipe for chaos. And there's a lot of people living in it. And there's a lot of people who succumb to it. If you're a man in your house and you're not directing traffic, you just letting yourself be, a victim of chaos. You just letting chaos in your house and just, putting out the fires. The wife, I hope it's not the wife, but the wife or the children, they just setting fires all in your house and you just going around putting them out. Hopefully you can get them all out before the whole house burned down. That's your position in life as a man. It's sad. It's sad,
And that's
man.
what I was
We
saying
got
too,
to
man.
get to the point. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying that that's what's sad to me, man. That I wish that once again when you look at a beta and an alpha. Here's my thing. I can't relate to a beta male because I'm not one. So I don't know what you go through. I can see it, but as a personally relating to it, I can't do it because there are just certain things that I won't allow. And it doesn't make me a bad man. It doesn't make me less empathetic than you, but it makes
Right.
me a stronger partner for my wife, but thus it makes her stronger. Like in relationships, like you're made to make each other stronger. Iron sharpening iron. But you can only do that if you're working together. If you're in a relationship, I'm talking men and women right now. If you're in a relationship with someone toxic and these red flags keep popping up, like don't let your memories and your time you've already had convince you to stay if it's making you miserable. Like everybody deserves to be happy. No, it's not your partner's responsibility to make sure that you're happy. That falls on you. But in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, like everybody has to pull their own weight. And once again, like if you're comfortable letting like just being told what to do, if that's your lifestyle, that's fine. But don't look at another man who decides that, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take charge, I'm gonna do this. Don't look at him and tell him, hey, you know what, you're a toxic male. Because that's not they are different things. Once again, my name is Julian Ty. Y'all know I hate stereotypes. So don't just try to tell every alpha male that he's arrogant and that's not how you should raise your kids and that's not what you should be. Like let people do them. But don't associate a man that wants to be in charge of his household as a bigot or as an arrogant, ignorant alpha
Yeah.
male because that's not what it is.
Nope. No, sir.
And it's funny is that everybody now in society is so quick to and comfortable with throwing out the response, bigot. You know, when that's not the case at all. It's just standing up for what you believe in, what you know is right. But the big thing is too, stand up to be boundaries and ship. And if the person you're with is challenging those boundaries, you don't need to be with them. The people that you're with accept the boundaries. And if you start to let your guard, they're gonna make you pick that guard back up, make you hold true. They're gonna hold you accountable to those. Not dance all over them. Not to the point they're non-existent. And I hate what's going on with Will Smith. One of the most accomplished in his industry, not just in the movies, but and entertainment, the rap game. He's an innovator in so many different ways, but now he has this hanging over him because of the choices he made. And I'm not just about the choice to slap Chris Rock. That's just a small part of the grand picture right now. And if that's all, then you're not seeing what's going on. And instead of criticizing and condemning him, pray for the man. Pray that if Jada's not going to change, which she's not going to change, that he has the strength to pull himself out of that. And if he doesn't have strength to do it himself, that there are some people around him that are going to do for him what he can't do for himself and pull it out. Then have this significantly worse than just a slap.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't want to demonize Will. I I rather will focus. I would rather focus on his action of doing what he did, not him. I think he's probably a decent person, but that act, that that single solitary act, that's what we talking about. We ain't talking about the man as a person. You know what I mean?
Yo, yeah. And see, man, once again, that's what I want people to really hear is that, you two are some of my closest friends. So, we talk about having that circle of people that'll call you out on your BS, and y'all are in that circle, and so like it's good to have those people in your life. And I would, once again, like you said, I'm not demonize Will. I would hate to feel that he doesn't have somebody in his circle to be like, hey, yo, man, like you don't have to be treated like this. Like you can be treated so much better. There is so much more. But my only hope for him and other men going through problems like that, like really find you a good group of friends. Like find you somebody that tells you, hey, it's okay to care about you. Because once again, as a
Mm-hmm.
family man, he's thinking, hey, I just can't leave. We got kids, we got a history. Everybody in Hollywood's gonna see us. And they, oh man, everybody wanted that Jada and Will love, but now, hey, that Jada and Will love ain't looking too appetizing right now. It look like something you want to be a part
Hey,
of.
hey, I'm gonna say one thing, and I'm gonna be done, y'all. I'm gonna say this, just in the interest of being humble. One way to define humility is recognizing your own limits. I
Hmm?
say that because Will probably thought one day, whatever she throw at me, I'm just gonna take it,
I can
and
take it.
I'll be able to take it.
I believe
And
that.
brother, if you thinking like that is in regards to your relationship, that you got this woman in your house, or what, or whatever type of situation you in, you just thinking, oh, I love her so much, whatever happens, you're not humble, and you're crazy at the same time, because it's only so much
Well,
you gonna take, and I'm gonna leave it there, man.
I don't know if it so much has to do with humility or not being humble. It's a sickness. At the end of the
Hmm?
day, his mental health is deteriorating before our eyes. It's a sickness,
Yep.
and when you're in such a state that your very core is being destroyed and just melted away, you're not you anymore. You're just a shell of you that's just taking anything and everything, and at your own detriment.
And nobody deserves
He made a decision. He made a decision at one point to take that path, though. You know what I mean?
Well, there's always this decision point. Absolutely, I tell people all the time in regards to relationship, when you're with the wrong person, because one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard somebody say like that beginning. Yes, they were. They showed you. You decided to detour that. I said, happen, and to yourself, okay, it's going to be okay. He will. He saw the signs, but he was, I don't know if you want to say it's in love, maybe obsessed. It's an obsession. It's an unhealthy obsession. He
it's
he
that.
I
fe-
think
he
It became a
obsessed
thing.
with an image. Just go ahead.
Oh no, I'll say it's that, and plus it's just because they became, the image of Hollywood. Like, we can be in Hollywood and still be in love. So he, in essence, man, I think he wanted to give other couples in Hollywood that's in the limelight. He wanted to give them hope. Like he wanted to be that staple couple, and that right now is like wearing on him because he's sacrificing his own happiness. Like man, you show me any guy that can look at the picture, the meme that was so popular of her telling him that I just needed to feel good. I haven't felt good in a long time. Look at the hurt in that man's eyes. Look at the pain in that man's eyes at that moment. And that'll tell you everything that he's been going through for so long. And the fact that they're still together, he's still going through it. That's tough.
Man,
Better than me. I
I
wouldn't do
hate
it.
I hate
Ain't no more
hearing
time to make a husband, I can tell you that.
I hate hearing
We're
the
gonna be
way
precautious.
I just hate hearing the way folks use the word love. I mean, I love as its core values, but you got folks who want to have 32 definitions of what love is, and I hate it. It's very perverted. It's disturbing, but that's a subject for another podcast.
It is. And coming soon.
I
I
hate it, man.
will say love is not an open marriage. I'm sorry.
And most
It's
definitely not.
and I'll get chastised and
No, you won't.
I'll get haters from coming from far and wide. I don't care. Love is not an open relationship.
Love ain't letting somebody do whatever it is they want to do. You wouldn't do it with no other person. If you let's just say this. Let's just say this. You got a child. You teach them how to drive. Hey, here go the keys. Grab the keys. Do it how you want to. Go ahead. Figure it out. Is that love? Is that love? Okay. All right. I had to hate my child to say something like that to him. Hey, but a lot of folks out here doing it, and not in those words, but they doing it in every other fashion. Hey, man, I'm out of here, bro. I ain't got nothing to say about it. Until next time.
Well, I also too, if they feel like they have a burden, and I call it a burden, presenting themselves as the shining example for the rest of Hollywood to live, that's not the reason. It's not the reason to have a marriage, and I use that term loosely, a marriage. If you're not doing
An
it for
arrangement.
first of all, them is for you, and the thing is, what are you showing people when there's no root to what you're showing them at all? They're inside a shell. You're an actor essentially. You're in a movie of life where you're trying to portray this image to get people buy-in.
You're just
That's all it is.
you're just doing things, as the Joker said. You're just doing things. I don't want to. I don't want to keep on saying
You got to do that Joker voice when you do it. You're just doing things.
Do I look a guy with a plan?
And that's society as a whole.
I just
But
do things.
I realize we have gone over time and we probably trailed off a lot, but you know what? We're not professionals and we don't claim to be. We're not politically correct, nor will we ever become politically correct. But I will say to the audience, thank you, first of all, for tuning in. Thank you for the folks who are in the chat right now.
Jamie,
Yeah.
Nick Saban Jr., the legend Jay, James T. Shout out.
George T.
How about
If
them
there is a
Cowboys?
topic you want,
Hey, what's up, George?
if there's a topic that you would like us to discuss, send it our way. List it in the comment section. We'd be happy to cover it. But as we close out, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. If you give your social media platforms, how they can find you. And I'll start with you, Julian, since you're a sponsor of us, to pop your biz.
So glad you mentioned it. If you look right up there over his, Tosh Terrific Turf. Once again, you're in North Huntsville. You need your landscape done right. You know what to call. Mr. DYDC on TikTok and Instagram. Julian Todd on Facebook. Follow me. I do want to say, man, if you're a sports fan, you know you got a tragic news today. Dwayne Haskins, young kid, man, died in a car accident, man. Rest in peace, Dwayne, man. Definitely for prayers for him and his family, So, the world of
Yeah.
sports is good, man. We lose somebody, we all hurt. Doesn't matter if we knew you personally or professionally, or we just, saw you playing. I know, a mother lost a son, a dad lost a son, and somebody lost a
Yeah.
brother, So, rest in peace, Dwayne. So, that's all I got.
Okay, Chris, leaves it up to you, man. How can your followers and fans find?
I don't know how many fans I
He on
got
the
out
corner of
there,
First
but
Avenue.
I don't know how many
He-
fans I got out there, but on IG, hey, Mr. C.A. Parrish, that's Parrish with 2 R's, hit me up on IG. That's it, man.
We gonna get him on TikTok too. I'm gonna get him
yeah.
on TikTok. Hey,
Yeah.
y'all wait.
Don't let this humble act fool you with Chris. He's really the David Ruffin of our group. we're trying to tell
Ain't
him.
nobody coming to see you, Otis. Oh man.
But yeah,
Oh,
another great show, guys. I enjoyed it. For the
sir.
folks who are on this channel, if you're a Alabama fan, I strongly convince you to tune in Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. Bama Standard. It's me, former Alabama linebacker Marvin Constant, former Alabama Bo legend Steve, and senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, giving you the latest news. Always have some Tide legends in the house, and we're not too serious. We're 90% 9% actual sports talk. So please tune in. Our guest is going to be huge next week because it's A-Day week. Definitely. But anyway, yes. Show, fellas. We'll see you next week.